Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving into a truly fascinating explainer. We're going to be dissecting the core premise of this incredibly compelling documentary that looks at the hidden, literally unnoticed obstacles to building wealth. The title alone, right? The habits that keep people poor. Man, that's heavy. But it's so important because it completely challenges the idea that wealth is just about luck or, external circumstances. Instead, it puts the focus squarely on what you and I do every single day.
Now, I want you to listen to the exact phrasing the documentary uses here. It says, it's a documentary exploring the everyday habits, decisions, and behaviors that quietly prevent millions of people from building wealth. Did you catch that? The absolutely crucial word there is quietly. See, we usually think of financial ruin as this massive dramatic event, right? Like a stock market crash, a bankruptcy, or losing a job out of nowhere. But this points us toward a totally different, entirely invisible threat. It's not a massive hole in the boat. It's that silent, steady little leak in the bucket that you don't even notice until it's completely empty.
So, let's get right into part 1, the invisible wealth barrier. This is a thematic deconstruction of the psychological and economic pillars holding us back. According to the documentary's core thesis, there isn't just some single magic thing holding people back. It actually breaks it down into 3 specific interacting pillars of stagnation: everyday habits, decisions, and behaviors. Now, at first glance, you might be thinking, well, aren't those just 3 different words for the exact same thing? But they actually aren't. They represent completely different cognitive processes that kind of team up and interact with each other to block your financial growth. Let's zero in on this first pillar, everyday habits. Habits are routine, right? They're those automatic daily actions that just quietly operate in the background of your life. In a financial context, automatic essentially means your brain is checked out. It's no longer actively engaging with what you're doing. It's that monthly streaming subscription you totally forgot to cancel, or that quick daily coffee run where you don't even look at the price tag anymore. You don't hear the alarm bells going off because your brain is just on autopilot, silently draining your resources. Now, contrast that passive routine with our second pillar, which is decisions. And there's a really crucial linguistic and psychological difference here. While a habit is totally passive and automatic, a decision is an active choice. It's a distinct determination. This is that exact moment when you're standing at a financial crossroads and you consciously choose the path that actually counteracts your wealth building. It's like actively choosing to finance a shiny new liability instead of investing in a boring old asset. You're taking an active, conscious step away from financial growth.
And that brings us to the final pillar, behaviors. Look at it this way. If habits are the automatic micro-actions and decisions are the conscious macro choices, then behaviors are the synthesis of the whole shebang. Your behavior is basically the overarching manner in which you conduct yourself. It's the culmination of all those everyday routines weaving together to form this huge, comprehensive wall against wealth. It actually becomes your identity. When your underlying habits and decisions are flawed, your overarching behavior turns into this incredibly stubborn mechanism of stagnation. So when we look at the big picture, this creates immense friction. On one side, we have the heavy weight of our everyday routines, the habits, the decisions, and the behaviors. And way over on the other side is the ultimate goal of building wealth. These are fundamentally opposing forces. I mean, you absolutely cannot have these routines of stagnation operating on autopilot and expect to just magically arrive at financial freedom. No way. Your everyday actions are literally pushing back against your goal.
Moving on to part 2, the scale of the issue, a quiet epidemic.
Millions. The documentary explicitly points out that these everyday habits and decisions prevent millions of people from building wealth. We're not talking about some isolated issue that only affects a tiny subset of folks. This specific framework of financial self-sabotage is happening on a staggering, truly global scale. When you wrap your head around the fact that this impacts millions of people, you start to realize that these destructive routines aren't just weird anomalies. Sadly, they're basically the default setting for everyday society.
And that brings us right back to this foundational concept. They prevent wealth quietly. The whole reason this impacts millions of people, the reason it scales to such a massive degree, is precisely because it's so silent. Think about it. If these bad habits announce themselves with blaring sirens and flashing red lights every single time they drained a dollar from your potential, millions of people wouldn't fall for them. But because they're just baked right into the everyday, they slip by completely unnoticed. The silence is literally the secret to their success. Finally, let's look at part 3, breaking the quiet cycle, making the invisible visible. If the true enemy of building wealth is invisible, well, the very first step is making it visible, right? You can't fix a leak if you don't even know it's there. So, as we wrap up this educational explainer, I want to leave you with a really important question to chew on. Which of your everyday behaviors is quietly preventing your wealth? Is it some automatic habit you aren't even thinking about anymore? Or maybe an active decision you just keep making? The biggest barrier to your wealth might not actually be out there in the broader economy. It might be quietly operating right now, right inside your everyday routine. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep your eyes on those daily habits, and I'll catch you in the next one.